Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I'm in a mess tonight. I've already done one podcast today. I'm your host, Adam Cousins. I am probably I'll say train lagged from 2 days traveling to Wales. A big thank you again to the guys at Slam Masters for the hospitality, putting me and Rachel up, and for meeting Mr. Ace Austin. So now Rachel has a Bullet Club member that she can go back to you. Talking of aces, that brings me to my compadre for this show. We're going to talk all things AEW, as you can see in my background. That brings to my compadre, father times two. He's little boy. Two-time father. He's little
DDP,
boy.
that was.
Yeah, bit of DDP. His little boy was born on Friday, and he called him Ace. And Ace Austin loved that when I showed him pictures, and it showed him the story on Facebook, so he did see that. But it is our problem child, Dave Robinson. You've now got a problem child boy to bring on to go forward. So I hope you're getting him podcast ready, man.
And the lengths we go to try and get talent on the show, naming kids after members of Bullet Club. It's been a long few days. I'm tired. I might fall asleep on the podcast at some point, which would be a first.
Thanks. That's great for me.
it's been fantastic, mate. But we didn't get a Dynamite and Collision review done in our normal fashion, just because of obviously everything that's going on. So I'm really enjoying running through everything that's been going on in AEW in the last week. End of an era, start of a new one. And there's a hell of a lot to talk about.
There is indeed. So as Dave pointed out, there was a lot of issues last week. Not issues as such. Obviously, Dave was looking after Stacey, and mother and baby all okay at this point, Dave?
Everyone's fine, yeah. It couldn't have gone any better, to be honest. It was absolute perfection, and a big thank you to all the hospital staff. NHS get a bit of flack at times, but they treated us absolutely superbly, and we had a great experience. So thank you to everyone involved.
Yeah, and you've had a bit of love for the fans as well, of our fans. We're sending you some love this weekend as well. But baby's fine. Eden's looking after her little brother, and the dog as well will get involved at some point.
Yeah, the dog's on holiday. He's having 2 weeks at my mum and dad's.
He's having 2 weeks of laying, thinking what? And he
doesn't want to be here, man. But Eden stepped up. She's been doing great. She just wants to keep cuddling him. Just every time she comes in, when she got back from school today, that was just her go-to, straight to Ace and picking up and cuddling him. So
brilliant.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Brilliant, and congratulations from us.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Anyway, let's talk some wrestling, shall we? That's what you're here. That's what we pay. Well, we say we pay you for. We don't pay you, but
that's why you pay me the big bucks.
That's what we pay you the big bucks for. Yeah. There was a lot of lots of things, and you mentioned end of an era, start of a new era, which was rated R. We'll get onto that in a minute. Dynamite was quite an interesting one this week. We'll cover off bits and pieces of Dynamite. Obviously, there was this mystery attack. So there was a lengthy promo. Basically, Dynamite was all about this lengthy promo between MJF and Jay White, kind of getting a low-hanging fruit on each other and doing bits and pieces, and ultimately setting up potentially a future match with MJF and Jay White. And that transpired to the end of the show, where they were being attacked. Jay White was being attacked by 4 or 5 people, and the devil in disguise, the MJF mask that he wears, the guy turned around. It wasn't MJF, and for Christ's sake, guys, no, it wasn't Adam Cole, baby. He is legitimately injured, out for a lengthy period of time, from what we know. But intriguing though, Dave, that one, because I didn't expect Jay White to come out initially with the MJF. So where do you think they're going with it? And who do you think is that mystery attacker?
Adam Cole.
Oh, God.
I think it's Adam Cole. I think it's the Kingdom. I think it's Kyle O'Reilly. That's my prediction. I know what you're saying about Cole, but he rolled his ankle, man.
He's done more than that.
I don't know.
You've seen the X-rays?
No, I didn't, to be honest.
Broke it in 3 places.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that the... I don't know.
Well, Britt Baker posted it.
Okay.
There was rumors that the mask was going to be her. Same people like someone said Edge, and I was like, Edge hasn't lost 100 pounds in body weight and certainly hasn't dropped 8 waist sizes. And that's not because Edge is fat; it's just build. So I
I
can't.
think it's Adam Cole, man. I think it's Adam Cole. I think this is the big. And I actually expected MJF to lose the titles, but obviously they didn't do that. So yeah, mate, the predictions I make on this show, a lot of them are usually wildly inaccurate. I was quite glad about the Nick Wayne one coming to fruition because we did touch on that last week. But yeah, I might be way off the mark, and Adam Cole's legitimately out for a long period of time, and it's got nothing to do with him. I just think it has to. I just think it has to. No? What's your theory?
I actually thought it was Kyle O'Reilly is the devil or Roddy Strong.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Roddy Strong, the Kingdom, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Maybe.
That's who I think are going to be a group.
Mind you, he was wearing a turtleneck, so it could have been. I wouldn't have thought he'd been Christian.
No, I might have borrowed it off him.
borrowed Christian. So look, I like it. It's intriguing. It's something a bit different. I don't think AEW have done that before.
Didn't see it coming at all. That angle at the end, I thought it was really good.
Could it be? And this is we're talking down the line here that they do this for ages, and the person that was inside the mask initially isn't the person when they reveal it. Like for example, and going back to WWE, it could be someone like Ali, or because he's got a slender build, like it's quite a slender person. It wasn't like this big meaty bloke, was it? He was quite a slender build person.
And Ali, wasn't he involved with Retribution?
That's what brought me to it.
Similar type thing. But I don't know, because obviously the 90-day non-compete, I'm sure applies to him if he was released. So, but as you say, it might necessarily be him that was featured in the video in the vignette. But when they come to the reveal, it could be him then.
Yeah, I mean, they can get away with things like that, can't they? Because and let's be honest, the bit at the end of Wrestle Dream wasn't exactly filmed Saturday, was it?
No.
But we'll get to that. Another interesting one on this, and it's interesting because we'll get to Wrestle Kingdom shortly. Nick Jackson won the Fatal 4-Way to get a contender at the International Championship. Now, forgive me, the International Championship is being held by
Ray Fenix,
who beat Jeff Jarrett. And that match happens this week on the 4th anniversary of Dynamite. An interesting one because obviously when they get into Wrestle Dream, they also won their match there to become number 1 contenders to tag team championships. What's going on there, do you think? Or is it just because Moxley was injured, they had to think of something quite off the fly because Moxley wasn't meant to drop the title a couple of years ago?
Phoenix Nick Jackson is a callback to their match that they had in one of the early Dynamites. I think it's probably the 4th episode or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
So there is a little bit of history there. And AEW are pretty good at doing that, touching on things that have happened in the past and building it into new stories. In terms of the Young Bucks, they're definitely revitalized since Punk's gone. They're definitely back to their best. And maybe Tony Khan is kind of not sucking up to them, but booking them favorably off the back as what has been a difficult kind of 18 months. Hangman alludes to that difficult 18 months and the dark cloud. I'm pretty sure that's what he's kind of alluding to. I know that he dropped the title and he's gone through different things, but I think the whole time that Punk was involved with AEW, kind of there were questions asked about the elite. Different podcasts. Conan mentioned it on Keeping It 100. They're definitely back to their best, and they're the old Young Bucks, and some of the big wins they're picking up. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan is kind of rewarding them. I'm not sure, but that's kind of my take on it. I don't think they've got the power to kind of book it themselves. I know they're VPs, but it all comes down to Tony Khan. But obviously they're in kind of a singles picture, a tag team picture, and a trios picture, all in the space of a week. Yeah,
exactly that. It's a very interesting one. So we're certainly looking forward to this week's Dynamite, the 4th anniversary of the show, which will be really good. So that was pretty much Dynamite in a nutshell. We didn't want to talk about that too long. Collision, on the other hand, was very tag trio 4-man heavy. There was one or two. I mean, there was two single matches on the card. Julia Knight with a quick win, and a really good opener between Juice and Andrade, with Andrade picking up the win on that. Yeah, Collision was really a sort of tag heavy show. We had the Kingdom go over best friends, Julia Hart beat Vixen quite quickly. Omega and Jericho beat the Gates of Agony. The Righteous beat Judas, Icarus, and Travis Williams. And Ricky Starks, Big Bill, and Aussie Open beat FTR, Brian Dempsey, and Willie Uta. But some really good tag wrestling on this, which I like to see.
Yeah, and that is something that Collision has done since it started. I think obviously FTR heavily involved in Collision, and they're really a focal point of the show. So it doesn't surprise me at all that tag team wrestling is high on the agenda. And they've been doing a real good job of building some new teams, such as the Righteous. You know, they've come from nowhere really. I know they've been in WWE and people had heard of them, and they've been in Ring of Honor, but they've really been thrust into the I don't know, the center stage. You know, the past few weeks they've been on Dynamite, Collision. They get a prominent match on the pay-per-view as well. And I think there's going to be other teams such as your Ass Boys and others. We've saw what Juice Robinson's capable of in the trios matches, in tag matches, in 8-man tag matches. So they've got the talent there to pull off these matches, and I thought Collision was a pretty good show.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a good show as well. Really strong in a lot of areas on that. So yeah, really, really, really good for me. I've loved Collision since it started, to be quite honest. I thought it had been a really interesting one. And it's really good how they've got back onto the old, as I said, we keep saying it, the old school vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah, I really look, but we say this every week. I say this every week in terms of Julia Hart, another kind of really the past few appearances. I know we'll go on to the pay-per-view match in a minute. I was a little bit disappointed with that, but
yes,
in terms of how they've been booking her on TV and the overall presentation, and Brody as well, starting being by her side, I've really enjoyed that. And there's a star there in the making, and I think she was ready. They were ready to pull the trigger on her, and they kind of haven't. But yeah, we'll get onto that when we review Wrestle Dream,
which we're going to do right now. One thing I will say to everyone that watches, and I really hope that you do, we're not going to get into 0 hour. There was a lot of matches on the card. I'll run through the 0 hour results very, very quickly in a second. I will say this, and I've tweeted it out. Dear Tony Khan, please put Jon Moxley on commentary every week. Sincerely yours, the world.
It was. He's a great addition to the commentary. Obviously, as well, they've got the capability of doing that often with Blackpool Combat Club. We've heard Brian on commentary as well, and he's great there as well. So, particularly if Moxley's recovering, I'm not sure if he's got the green light on performing again after his concussion or head injury. But yeah, a great use of him by utilising him on the commentary table.
He was apparently fined.
For his language.
Yeah. Which is brilliant, but he was fantastic. I'm just going to quickly run through the card. Athena, Billy Starks, Keith Lee, and Kojima. Have I got that right, Dave? Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant. See, I'm learning. They beat Lee Moriarty, Shane Taylor, Diamante, Mercedes Martinez. Not a lot really going on. It was a really quick eight-person tag, mixed tag opener. Claudio Castagnoli beat Josh Barnett by pinfall. That was a match that was announced. Claudio had an open challenge that got answered by Josh Barnett on Collision. Luchasaurus decimated Nick Wayne, and then more of that later. And finally, the Acclaimed defeated TMDK, which is Bad Dude Tito, Shane Haste, and Mickey Nichols, which is the group that Zack Sabre Jr. Goes on with it in a 6-man tag, and they retain the Trios Championships. That, in a nutshell, was our 0 hour card, but it did go on for about an hour and a half, I believe, Dave.
Yeah, it was it was a long old card when you factor in that pre-show. I know not everybody watches them, and Wrestle Dream is a celebration of wrestling to honor Anthony Inoki. So I won't give AEW too much of a hard time.
No.
I do prefer a kind of 6-7 match pay-per-view, to be honest. That's my preference.
Coming from the man that booked 14 matches on his Forbidden.com.
Yeah. Bit of a contradiction there, but ultimately, I haven't got to book it, have I? And it's a difficult job, and that kind of sums it up. You know, who do you leave off? And you've got all these big stars, and you've got these big matches.
Yeah.
You know, and they keep doing it week in, week out, creating these must-see matches. But sometimes I think we get a bit too much. But how can we complain about that? You know, how can we complain about too much wrestling?
We can't.
No.
And we don't want to. Side note, quickly before we start, the full card for Wrestle Dream review was Eddie Kingston this week confirmed that he had signed a new 4-year contract. If there's anyone that deserves it, it's Kingston, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute great fit for him in AEW. I couldn't see him going anywhere else, to be honest. I think he's finally found that place that he can really be shown as the star that he is, and he can be utilized. He's really getting his flowers. You know, he's got 2 titles now. He's got his Ring of Honor title. He's got his New Japan title. He had an excellent match against Shibata at Wrestle Dream. He's living his dream, isn't he? You know, he's in Japan, he's in the States, he's wrestling all these dream opponents. We'll get onto his match in a minute, but I thought his show of respect at the end was sensational as well. And there's not many wrestlers that do that. We'll mention it more in a bit, but Eddie Kingston is an absolute superstar. He would be a massive loss to AEW. I don't think he's the type of guy that you could see in the WWE, to be honest. I think he's exactly where he should be and where he needs to be. And I'll just hope we consistently see him as like we have been in the last few months.
I do agree. And I was going to quickly bring on to something, John. They were talking, there's 2 things that there's been going on backstage. There is a big push for them to, for a lot of people backstage, for AEW to sign Shelton Benjamin. Now he's been released. I don't know what's happened and why that is.
Yeah.
There is also a big push, mainly from Moxley and his friends, for Sami Callihan to sign for AEW. Both of those, would you like them, and would you agree that they're both good fits, or do you see more a Callahan would be a better fit than Benjamin?
Shelton Benjamin's a real difficult one for me to comment on, because I was a fan of him in these early days of his career. In recent times, I think he just kind of went to WWE. He had different aspirations. They saw him differently to what he did himself.
Yeah.
He got put in tag teams and factions, and I'm not sure what his win-loss record was, but I would suggest it wasn't great.
Yeah, he wasn't.
But is he an incredibly talented performer? Yes, always has been. That's never been in doubt.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see what AEW could do with him, how they would book him, what kind of matches he would be in, how many of those matches he would win. I haven't got a kind of great desire. When he got released, I can't wait for AEW to sign Shelton Benjamin. I didn't. There wasn't too many of them, to be honest, that I thought, you know, Ali was one that I'd like. Yeah, I'd love to see Ali, and not just Ali in AEW. Ali having the freedom to have these dream matches, these guys in Impact, these guys in New Japan, you know, hit the Indies, and maybe also have an opportunity to see him over here at some point. So that's why I kind of thought Ali might be the one that I'd like. So Shelton Benjamin, not overly desperate to see. Sami Callihan, on the other hand, he's a similar one in some respects to Kingston. He's probably had more success in terms of his run in Impact. But in terms of the top 2 companies, WWE and AEW, I think he was signed to WWE, Callihan.
Yeah.
But he didn't really get a chance.
No.
He didn't get quite... Was he in NXT, or was he just in developmental?
I think it was NXT.
Yeah, I'm not sure how successful he was in NXT, or if it was a long run. I don't think he was.
Not very.
No. So I think similar to Kingston, he's a real talented performer, likes to tell stories. I could certainly see that happening. I think that one is quite likely. I think Shelton Benjamin, perhaps a similar kind of thing they've done with Rob Van Dam, you know, bringing these guys in for certain certain matches, certain feuds. I don't know where Benjamin's from, but AEW do a good job of using like the hometowns and home crowd, home cities to put over like the likes of Rob Van Dam in Michigan the other week. They did that for RVD, and they do kind of pay respect. I just think they do a better job of treating some of the legends or the the experienced pros. So I'm sure there may be an opportunity down the line, but I wouldn't imagine like say Shelton Benjamin signed a 5-year contract in AEW or anything like that.
No, okay, that's good. Good. I think Callahan will be perfect, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's get on with Wrestle Dream. Let's get on with it. Wrestle Dream last night kicked off MJF with Righteous in a handicap match. MJF gets the win with a heat seeker. It does the kangaroo kick. Got a massive pop for a body slam as well throughout this.
Yeah.
The only problem is, and I like the match. It was good. It may allude to what you were saying. Maybe Adam Cole is one of those the people in that mark, because does it feel to you that Adam Cole could be out for a long period of time, but MJF wins this match, and the Righteous are on quite a bit of a roll? Does that devalue the Righteous now?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. No matter how you do it, you've got two guys being beat by one guy.
Yeah,
MJF, the world champion, absolutely get that, but there was a real concerted effort to not just in what we've seen in the ring from the Righteous, but the vignettes.
Yeah,
the story, the amount of time, mic time they've been given. So I didn't like it. In terms of now where they go, if Adam Cole is legitimately injured for 3 months, I don't know where that leaves us. Say again?
Could be longer.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's broken in 3 places. Sorry.
Broken in 3 places, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Unless you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. But if he's legitimately got this injury and he's just out and that's it, and he'll be back when he's back, and the other stories are totally, I don't really see how you continue that tag title reign going. But obviously, they had a great reason to scrap the match when Cole was injured. Whether they forfeited the titles or just, said that match isn't happening, they didn't have to forfeit the titles. They could have just said, Adam Cole's injured. That match has been replaced by another match.
Yeah.
They could have very easily done that. So the fact that they didn't and they went ahead with it, and the fact that Adam Cole obviously wasn't there, he wasn't at ringside, it could be playing into that story. So it's interesting, but I didn't like the Righteous losing, and I think MJF having his foot on the ropes, great. I think they could have been protected more than that, to be honest.
Yeah, they could have done. Maybe the Kingdom takes it off MJF if they're not the ones helping MJF, but maybe that's part of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
So, let it play out.
Let it pan, see what happens. But you did mention the next match, Kingston versus Shibata for the Ring of Honor World Championship and the New Japan Strong Championship. This was absolutely brilliant fun. Thank God. These two left it all in the ring. Hard hitting contest, as you can imagine. There was Northern Lights bombs. There was a back, and Kingston hit a load of back fists, and then he powerbombed Shibata to get the win. As you say, Code of Honor was adhered to during this match. But that from the first match where we'll be like, goes on to it, and you're like, right, we're back in the groove again.
Yeah. This just every time Eddie Kingston's on our screens, I'm just captivated, and the guy against Shibata as well. Just the perfect kind of opponent, the perfect type of match I want to see Eddie Kingston in. It was telegraphed that he was going to win because of what titles are on the line. They probably weren't going to put a third title on Eddie. Neither were they going to drop either of those titles to him. So maybe they could have just had one title. Maybe there'd have been a little bit more intrigue as to who would win then.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have to defend 2 at a time.
No, that's it. If it maybe just because he's only just won the Ring of Honor, maybe if they'd just used the New Japan Strong title, you'd have been like, it could actually go to Shibata. That could be a title that he picks up. I thought the result wasn't in question, but the match was sensational. And the fact that Eddie Kingston got out of the ring at the end and he handed over to Shibata and he was encouraging the crowd to clap him, which the crowd duly did. Yeah, I think that was the sportsmanship, and then there's there's that which is next level for me. Really good. Obviously, He just loves wrestling. He loves the business. He's got no real ego as such. Yeah, I can't say enough about Eddie Kingston at the minute. He's doing the best work of his career.
Certainly is, and more Eddie Kingston, please. The third match again. I know we both agree on this. I didn't personally like the ending of it, but Statlander Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. However, I actually thought the match was absolutely brilliant.
Good match.
Really, this was probably Statlander's best. I mean, we kept saying when she came back from injury, she had a couple of those matches. You're like, oh, they're a bit, bit missy, a bit wishy-washy. And the last match she had was really good. This match topped the last match. It's been the best match that she's had since she's come back. Julia Hart is, she is a star. She's literally a star. There's no doubt about that. House of Black character. I love the way she even sings some of her song on the way out. She does really, really well. The end was unfortunately Saturday Night Fever from Chris Dunn to pick up the win. I don't think it devalues or devalues Julia Hart, but I think the timing was right for her to win now, unless she has a rematch at Full Gear.
I love the match and I love the finish. I loved how Statlander won, but that finish should have been used down the line in like a third match or something when Statlander wins the title back.
Mm-hmm.
I just think when you've got a heel in Julia Hart that is so over, that's been so good in the ring, that's been on a streak of 27 matches, I think, undefeated.
Yeah.
It was a perfect opportunity. I know Statlander hasn't had the title long and she's just beat Jade.
Yeah.
Again, like a legitimate match and, pre-planned match.
Mm-hmm.
But I am much more interested in a babyface chasing a heel to try and regain the championship that they've lost than the other way around. So I just thought it was the right time. I thought it was the right time. They could have used Brody King to do it. They didn't have to do it clean. They could have, done it in a way where Julia won the title, under challenging or different circumstances such as interference or however they wanted to do it, cheated. They could have used the mist. There was a number of ways that they could have done it. And then see a continuation of the feud with Chris Statlander trying to get the title back. I just think that would be a more interesting story, but we'll see where they go with it. Julia Hart will be TBS champion or AEW women's champion. It's a matter of time. I really thought that time should have been at Wrestle Dream.
Or does she switch, as you just mentioned, does she switch focus now and go for Saraya?
Maybe. But Toni Storm is kind of still in that picture, and she's one of the most popular acts in AEW right now.
Yes.
I just thought this was just the perfect thing to do here. I really did. And it didn't, as I say, it didn't have to be the end of the feud by any means. And Statlander could have got the title back down the line, and they could have really done a lot of interesting things there in terms of mixed tag matches as well with House of Black and Statlander and best friends maybe, or Statlander's partners. But yeah, this when she got the pin, as much as I thought it was a great match, and as I say, I liked the finish. It was a good finish. I was just really disappointed that Julia didn't kind of walk out with the title.
Yeah, me too. It was, as I say, I think the timing was right to do it, and unfortunately they didn't go with that. But as you say, down the line we'll see what happens. We touched on this. It was the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros versus Cassidy and Hook and the Guns, and the fatal four-way match to determine who will get a future tag team title shot later on down the line. Really fun match. Loved it. Really, really fun. Lots of great spots, as you could expect for this type of match. You would expect a lot of big spots.
The multi-man spots were just fantastic.
Yeah, they were brilliant. They were absolutely fantastic. Ultimately, the BTE Trigger and the Bucks pick up a win, and they will go on for a future tag team title shot. I know because they've got one of the Bucks is going against Phoenix this week, so they won't be this week on Dynamite. But this was a great match, Dave.
It was brilliant. This is what AEW is so good at, these kind of mad matches with stuff going on all over the place and kind of everyone taking their turns to get their moves in, and the repetition of certain moves as well.
Yeah,
just what I enjoy about AEW. This was absolutely great. In terms of story, was there a massive story going into it? No, but the winner's got the number one title, number one contendership. You got 8 really talented wrestlers on the card that perhaps wouldn't have had matches. So I've got no problem with it at all. The only kind of thing I was concerned about was Ray Fenix disappearing. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if he's injured. I didn't see the incident. So hopefully he's okay and he can still defend his title on Wednesday on Dynamite.
Exactly that. Hopefully he is. And they followed that with another absolutely brilliant match. Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland. For me, this is now the moment with Swerve where if they're going to do something with him, they need to do it now. This match had, I mean, there was brain busters, there was deadlift German suplexes, there was dead eyes on stairs, there was pretty much everything. They had Strickland actually beats him with a JML driver for a 1-2-3. They got Prince Nana ejected from ringside, although Strickland did use Nana's crown behind the back, but they only got a 2 count. This was, I would say, probably proving ground time for Swerve, and they absolutely smashed it out of the park.
Yeah, hit a home run. Swerve needed this.
Yes,
I mean it was in Seattle as well, so
yeah,
that crowd would have rioted. I think if Hangman would have won. This for anybody that has had the doubts over it, I don't think those people exist. But if there were anybody that had any doubts about Swerve, this is exactly what we've been saying all along, that he's money, he's a star, he's going to be AEW World Champion down the line. This was his first really, really big match that you thought he just has to win this, and thankfully he did. I thought it was absolutely great. Swerve does stuff that I've just never seen anybody else do. And I've seen a lot of people do wrestling in the last, 25 years. And he's absolute. He's a face of the company. Maybe not right now, but you saw in that match why he will be one of the faces of the company over the next 5 years. Really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed after the finish as well. Everybody doing the Nana in the crowd.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't. I'm not even gonna. No. I'm not gonna do it.
We'll save it for when we're in person, mate. We're doing it at Ignite next time.
No, if
that's so over. Nana's and that's the thing. Nana's so popular, but he's a heel. I think he's got more over than they ever wanted him to. It's like he almost got over by accident in terms of the dance and stuff.
Ellsworth in WWE.
Yeah.
So me, you, Andy, and your dad have all got to do the Swerve When I Drive dance of Prince Nana with Rachel recording it.
Yeah, I'm for
but
Hangman again, Hangman. It's underrated how many top level matches he's had in his AEW run. There's if you look at the top 50 matches in AEW, Hangman's had 20 of them. Because there's a lot of matches to kind of go through, and that's a list we'll save for another day to compile because it would be a long episode. But and this is where both of them need to be, right at the top of the card. And there's legitimate 4 matches on this card that were match of the year contenders for AEW.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of them. I enjoyed the 3 matches we're going to discuss next.
And
I don't know where I'd order them, but this was everything it needed to be. The result was right. The match was brilliant. There's a bit of controversy at the end as well, so I'm sure this isn't the end between those two. Even if we don't see immediately, I'm sure we see another match down the line. Just perfection.
It was, and as we say, we're going to talk even more good matches now. Next match was Wheeler Yuta, Ricky Starks, 2 of the, young up and comers. They're both veterans now, really. Another best part of this was Moxley on commentary. Please just check it out. He was absolutely awesome. This match, I did kind of feel as if the winner was going to be Starks, and he did with Rochambeau, but there was a lot of stuff in this. It was a quick 10-minute, just shy of 10 minutes. There was a bit where Starks was mocking Moxley as well. Is that Ricky Starks? Obviously, you could give your opinion on the match, but is Ricky Starks now edging towards a Moxley? If maybe Moxley had tests when he was there and he's good to go. Is that where he's edging to next, do you think?
I'd say so, particularly after the Danielson feud. He'd still be involved with the BCC. BCC have kind of accidentally gone back to faces, really. I don't really know how it happened, but they're definitely in that face role. Even Yuta. I don't think this match necessarily needed to happen on Wrestle Dream in what was already a long card.
Yeah.
In saying that, I would have been disappointed if Ricky Starks wasn't on the card, given the amount of work that he's put in this year.
Definitely.
He needs his pay-per-view matches. You can't be having AEW pay-per-views these days without Ricky Starks featuring. So if this was the only way they could do that because of the other stories, then fair enough. But yeah, I'm glad he's kind of continued that momentum, picked up the win. The Rochambeau is a great finisher as well.
Yes.
And I knew Wheeler would really take it well, as I knew it would just look perfect when it was hit, and it absolutely did. So yeah, I haven't got a major problem with it. I would just say it didn't really need to be on the pay-per-view.
No, and 10 minutes could have been used elsewhere. Like the next match, for example, although the next match was 22 minutes long. But I would have just loved this to take an hour. Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr. Dave, I don't even have to. We just say those two names and you know what you're going to get. It was a technical, I don't know what you want to call this.
Masterclass.
Technical masterclass from start to finish. He done a regal plex. It was two of his knee strikes from Danielson to win. The only thing I would say is Zack Sabre Jr. didn't shake his hand at the end of that, so maybe we are going to get another match. But Dave, when you say Zack Sabre Jr. to Bryan Danielson, you're like, yeah, this is gonna be amazing, and they didn't disappoint.
Yeah, this was just the first match. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
Yeah,
It's been, people have wanted to see this match for years, and when Danielson left the WWE, this was the match that everybody was talking about. It should have happened last year at Forbidden Door. It's finally happened now. And I'm not a massive advocate for Meltzer's star rating system, but this is easily a 5-star match. It was just absolutely brilliant. I mean, I understand that wrestling's a bit of a buffet and people like certain things, and technical wrestling, I suppose, as much as you would think everybody would enjoy that. Some people don't. I do. I get that. Maybe people enjoy kind of hardcore matches and your stadium stampede type match, and that's what their preference is. But I think you just have to really stand back and just appreciate how good those two guys are at wrestling. And yeah, some of the sequences were sensational. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they remember it. It just looks so good. Zack Sabre Jr. for me, he may be perfectly happy with what he's doing with his career in terms of New Japan and having the freedom to do AEW and other shows. I would love to see AEW tie him down on a long contract, similar to what we're hoping happens with Will Ospreay, not just because they're from the UK, just because of how good wrestlers, how good they are. And we don't just want to see Zack Sabre Jr. on AEW a couple of times a year. We want to see more frequently than that and be in longer feuds and stories with people. So I really hope he does sign when his deal's up with New Japan.
Yes, whenever that is, we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, more Zack Sabre Jr., please. And you mentioned, or the aforementioned, Will Ospreay, Big Bill, as we like to call
Big
him
Bill.
on this channel. Or I like to call him on this channel anyway, after my mistake. It was obviously Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, and Ibushi against the Gon Callis family, you might as well say. Takeshita, Will Ospreay, and the newest member, Sammy Guevara. Again, it was. I thought this was really good. I thought Jericho really shone in this as well. We've obviously been quite critical of Jericho in a single. Maybe tags are the best way to go.
I think he's been listening to the show and he's like, right, I'm going to show them guys, because we gave him a bit of abuse, but of late, all of his big matches have been great. The Ospreay match at All In, there's been other matches he's had as well that have been against some of the competitors that you wouldn't expect him to have a great match. And he's knocked it out of the park. So I've got no complaints about Chris Jericho right now. I'm glad he's not in a faction, and I'm glad he's getting this kind of run. Although he was in a 6-man match, I think he's going to have a singles run now and step away from the faction stuff. Again, excellent stuff. I just wish we saw more of Ibushi, and he's only kind of coming in for these special matches or these pay-per-view matches. So remains to be seen what his deal is with AEW and whether we're going to see more of him moving forward, whether he's still going to be a target for the Don Callis family. But in terms of the match, great. In terms of the result, right one as well.
Do you think? I thought, geez, Kenny Omega has lost 3 times in a row now on
Yeah,
pay-per-views, and I thought it was time. But I suppose with Sammy coming in as a new member of the
yeah,
Doghouse family, that it was about time. And bloody often we got another storm going out there. Sorry, I was just taken aback by. I think maybe it could be an airplane. It could just be a load of rain that we may have just had. But yeah, I thought, I suppose when you look at it, Sammy Guevara, newest member of the team, he picks up the victory. I think the
yeah.
screwdriver again in this. I'm sure Callis does near the end of it.
Yeah, Callis was involved. It was the bat one. The bat.
That's it. Callis with a Callis move and hits him with the bat. Yes, that was
Yeah,
had him in the walls of Jericho. That was it. And then
yeah,
with the bat. Yes, my bad. But yeah, I thought it was okay. As I said before, it was really good. Sorry, it was okay. It was really good. As I say, my thing was Guevara. They probably done it right. You are right. It's probably good with Guevara being the newest member of the team. To get the win. So that's probably why. But Kenny Omega unusually losing 3 matches, pay-per-view matches.
yeah. Was it Jericho who was actually pinned though? It was one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jericho.
yeah. Jericho
Guevara
that's
pinned
pinned.
Jericho.
So
Yeah.
yeah, as you say, Kenny Omega lost because of being on that team, but he didn't take the pinfall, I suppose. But I think those 3 guys are 3 guys that you've got to build up. You know,
Yeah.
Kenny, as much as Kenny is a massive star and a huge part of AEW, he is in his kind of 40s. Where you got those 3 young guys coming through, you can't. Again, a good thing that AEW does, they do build up those younger stars, and I think the best way to build them up is pay-per-view wins against the caliber opponents such as Jericho, Omega, and Ibushi. So I did like that. I thought it was the right thing.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. I suppose on Dynamite there's going to be a bit more, so we'll see what happens with that. Talking about tag teams, this is where the punches just keep on rolling.
Yeah.
FTR Aussie Open. You want to talk Meltzer? If this isn't 5 stars, I think I will go over to America and kill him. No, I better not say that because I'll probably get, if anything happens to Meltzer, I'll get knocking on the door. I won't kill him. I'll probably go kill True before I kill Meltzer. And that's another thing that's happened today with True, but we won't get into that on this show. He's not worth the pay. He's not worth the time on this channel. But anyway, FTR Aussie Open. FTR Super Shatter Machine picks up the victory. They're still tag team champions. But Dave, I mean, what more can you say about this?
Just again, we spoke about it at the start of the show about tag team wrestling and Collision and FTR. This is exactly why. This is why FTR are so passionate about tag team wrestling, because when it's done like this, when it's done so well, it can main event shows, it can sell tickets, it brings in new fans. It's one of those type of matches that you'd show to people that aren't wrestling fans and just say, this is why. You know, you watch it, you stand back kind of proud. Hey, this is why I spend so many hours watching wrestling. It was just great. And I know Aussie Open, again, another loss for them. And there's a few guys that I want to see in this new phase of AEW that we're moving into. Start picking up some wins. Brian Cage is one of them. He lost again last week. So he was the one that took the pin. I think Brian Cage and Aussie Open. There's others, but those are the 2 kind of acts that are jumping off the page at the minute. They do need to start picking up some more victories, and I'm sure they will. But I don't think FTR's title run needs to end anytime soon. I think they're just in the form of their career. They're having the run of their career. They're obviously really enjoying what they're doing and who they're working with. They're having match of the card matches on every show they're on, whether that's Collision, whether that's appearance on Dynamite, whether that's Wrestle Dream. Just more of the same, please. More of this. I just love how tag team wrestling and the tag team titles do feel so, special. They do feel they're not like forgotten about, or they are featured. The tag team title match is a featured match. It's a highly anticipated match that everybody wants to see, and one of the matches that sold the card for me. So no complaints again.
No complaints. It was fantastic. So when we get to the main event, we'll talk the aftermath of the main event after. Let's get the main event done first. Christian Cage, Darby Allin. I mean, even in main event, you kind of think, crossed, how are they going to follow the FTRs? How are they going to follow? Christian is like the MVP right now of AEW. This match, what an entrance from Darby Allin, by the way. Got to get that in. Fantastic for Darby Allin. This match, 2 out of 3 falls for the TNT Championship, was brilliant. There was so much going on. You were right. They turned Nick. So the win, it was 1-1 in falls. There was a bit there where he was going with a coffin drop. But then there was like Nick Wayne and Christian Cage, sorry, had a low blow Darby Allin, went to get the TNT title. Nick Wayne took it out of his hands. They were both standing there. Him and Darby were standing side by side at that point. Christian was in a corner, and then bam, Nick Wayne now's Darby Allin, and turning on Darby Allin, and now he's got his new father in Christian Cage for the 1-2-3. But Dave, I mean, main event. I was kind of worried when this was going on at main event. I think I kind of know why, and we'll get on to that very, very shortly. But when you look at those FTR matches, this wasn't out of place in the main event of the show, even considering everything that happened before it.
These guys have had so many great matches throughout their career. Christian and Darby in his time in AEW, he's had some great matches. This was, I think, was probably their best match. Both of them. I've seen Christian had so many matches over the years. This was just it was a perfect main event for a wrestling pay-per-view. As you say, Christian right now doing some of the best work of his career. He's an absolute legend in wrestling, and he just seems to get better and better. It was just so good, mate. I couldn't get over how good it was. I expected it to be. I thought that it would. I thought we'd get some stuff at the end. But the actual match itself, the 2 out of 3 falls match, was just so good. It was full of drama. I thought Darby's fall, where he picked up at the start, I thought that was really good, using the turtleneck as well.
Yeah.
It was just... I know Christian has got a reputation of structuring matches and putting these types of matches together. I know Bully Ray puts him over quite a lot and Busted Open when they talk about the tables, ladder and chairs matches and stuff, and Christian is a bit of an architect in that respect, and you could see in this match, it was just so good. Every element of it, the match, the aftermath, the finish, the Nick Wayne heel turn. I was kind of hopeful that Nick Wayne's mom would be in on it as well, but maybe that was a bit too much. But yeah, to see her side with Christian as well, I thought that would have been like, man, that would have made it even more shocking. But I think this is perfect for Nick Wayne. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does now under Christian's wing.
Me too. And they even pulled up the ring in the end to expose the wood underneath the ring, which was amazing. Now, we've been waiting to talk about this. After the match, obviously Sting was getting involved anyway, but after the match, everyone basically Darby was getting beaten up, Sting was getting beaten up. I'm hoping this works. When they say you don't go live with kids, you don't go live with animals, you don't always go live with mobile phones either. But I am going to try it. They beat the crap out of it. They were beating the crap out of Sting. They go to hit the concerto. The lights go out. A vignette plays on the screen. He's in a Mustang, I think, which looks like, if you watch Power, if anyone watches Power on Netflix, it's a lot like the car that Tommy Egan drives in Power. Anyway, the lights come back on, and this is what happened. I'm hoping this works. Dave, please tell me you can hear it. But here we go. This is what happened.
No. I can't
It didn't work. Shocking. Anyway, we heard those...
You have to sing it.
No chance of that. That's saved for the shower and some special time with me on my own, which is going to sound really wrong. It was Metangus. I think that's how you spell it.
Metalingus.
Sorry, it was Metalingus. It started. You think you know me. The crowd in the stadium explode. Well, they kind of knew who it was. I mean, it was a bit obvious on the vignette that aired before. We now call him the Rated R superstar. Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, makes his AEW debut. He comes out. It looks like he's going to join Christian Cage. He ends up spearing all of them. Christian, Nick Wayne, I think even Luchasaurus got one. Did he get Christian with one? I can't remember if he got Christian.
He didn't get Christian. He got Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne.
Onto the wood, I might add.
Yeah.
And then shook hands with Darby, and who actually Darby Allin helped do that. vignette with Edge.
Yeah, it looked like it had his kind of fingerprints all over it.
And it was also funny enough. We know it says our feature presentation at the start. That was Sammy Callahan's when you come back to Impact Wrestling. They used
okay.
So maybe a bit of a coincidence. But Adam Copeland, Edge, Radar Superstar, is all elite. Dave, obviously well constructed, as you've already mentioned at the end, was AEW now potentially going into a new era. Is this the CM Punk replacement? I've seen videos where FTR are hanging out back, literally going crazy just behind. You just see them. You don't see them, obviously, on the TV when it goes off air. This is Edge walking back up the ramp, and they're waiting for him at the face entrance way. They're embracing him. You've got Dak sort of going crazy, like, yes, I can't believe that he's signed. Is that kind of also the person that they would want backstage? You know, we know Punk had issues. We know all that crap. Is Edge kind of like the polar opposite backstage to what Punk would be?
I would honestly just say, what an upgrade. I really, really would. And I was a Punk fan. But all this nonsense and the backstage stuff and the fighting and just... you get none of that from Edge. You just get one of the very best of all time, one of the very best to have ever done it. And still, you know, he's towards the end of his career. So let's not pretend that he's kind of in his early 20s or early 30s. You know, he's towards the back end of his career, but in many ways, like Christian's showing, he's still capable of some of his best work. We saw that in WWE with some of the matches he had. I'm really surprised that they've kind of announced that Edge will be working full time rather than, you know, because they made a point of saying that. So that just made me think, well, why wasn't he full time in the WWE? I know he was featured a little bit more when he formed the Judgment Day, and he was a little bit more week in, week out. But for them to not have anything for Edge, or, you know, if he wanted to be there and they were just like, no, I do not understand that. So no wonder in some respects that he wanted to try something new. He wanted to try something where his best friend, his lifelong best friend Christian's there. His real close friends in FTR are there. FTR, they've lost Punk, who was a good friend of theirs. Edge is coming in to replace him, so that keeps them happy. It just couldn't have worked any better. This gets eyes on the product. This gets eyes on AEW. This sells tickets. This sells merch. And what another experienced pro in the back for AEW. They get criticism about having all the old WWE guys and stuff, similar to how WCW got criticized for having all the WWE guys in their day. I think you're never going to please some people. But Edge is just Edge. He's Edge, man. He's Edge. I know we can't call him Edge anymore. But this is right up there with... is it as shocking as someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin turning up in AEW? I'm not sure, but it's top tier. It's absolute top tier. It's not somebody... Dolph Ziggler would be a good get for AEW, but Dolph Ziggler is not Edge. And nobody else, not really. Danielson was one similar, akin to him, because and funnily enough, Danielson Edge were in that main event at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns. And now to see them both in AEW and to see that Edge is going to be working full time, he looks great. I saw that video. I don't know if you shared it or somebody shared. I think it was Honor the Elite that shared it, about him saying that he just wanted to go out there and have fun. That's just great news. I hope that he can stay injury free. Similar to Danielson, there has been injury concerns since he's kind of come out of retirement. But if there's a company that can use Edge right, like they've used Sting, like they've used so many others, it's AEW. So I'm so excited, so glad to see him there. And now I'm going to let you speak, because you've been an Edge head for as long as I've known you. What was your reaction to seeing Edge?
I'm just so happy for him, because he done a really nice piece on Twitter as well. I mean, I've said to you before he went in there was some fucking stupid idiots, you know, WWE, tribalism or whatever. I hate the word tribalism. I hate that that there is tribalism, that no one can do anything about the other people bashing it. It just, it bugged me. However, Edge in AEW, brilliant. When he's, I mean, obviously we kind of knew. I was wondering if they was going to leave it till Full Gear. I thought maybe, I don't know, maybe something was telling me maybe they'll do it later on.
I think when Sting went out there, and then
Yeah,
obviously when his head was on that chair, it
I kind
just
of knew then. And then the
couldn't have
lights
been
went,
anybody else.
and as soon as the lights went out, I was like, here we go.
And that obviously they showed in the vignette. It said rated R on the road,
Yeah,
and the music. It was an Alter Bridge track. I'm
yeah.
sorry, I should know what track it is, but I was just so excited. And then you think you know me, which is a different voice, as you kind of pointed out before we started recording.
Yeah.
But then it went into Metalingus, and the crowd just went berserk. It was similar to when he came back at the Rumble. It was that kind of reaction, and I think this was less a surprise than that return. I think that was a bigger surprise.
That Rumble one was nowhere near that. It was a big one in terms of,
Yeah, surprises because nobody. But so this has been kind of rumored going back to August.
When we had that thing with Punk, as soon as Punk got fired, I said they'll bring Edge in.
Yeah. I just think, I know Parker's going to hate me for saying it, but I just think it's an upgrade. I really do. I think you just get one of the greatest of all times in there. You never hear any bad stories or negative stuff about Edge, particularly in the last 15, 20 years. I think the only blot on his copybook, if you were, was the Lita stuff and Matt Hardy, which was when he was, 30s? I mean, it was a long time ago on it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
20 years ago. So other than that, I've never heard anything negative about Adam Copeland. And I think he's a great person for Tony Khan to bring on board. And I not only think he's going to be great on screen and we're going to see some good matches, I can really see him transitioning into a big role backstage as well.
Definitely. Absolutely, definitely. He's also so well liked and well respected by everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's played a massive thing in him, like them getting him in. Because we know the stuff that happened with Punk and that it all kicked off. There has not been, as you say, barring the bit with Lita, there has never been any controversy or he's been getting in trouble or
nothing,
stage fights or issues. And to have him on there now, if they don't listen to Edge, and there was this thing about Adam Page saying, "Oh, we don't listen to veterans and all that sort of stuff." This is the one that you need to sit there, let them watch your matches, let them coach you, let him have a look at, let him see where you can improve your game. Because if there's anyone that's going to improve people in that company, Danielson, Edge, Copeland now, I can't call him Edge anymore, but Christian, everyone up that, they need to listen to those guys because they're going to be huge for the company going forward.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw Edge's comment to Darby. He said, "I'm not one of these old timers that are going to say, back in my day, this is how we do it." Darby said to him, apparently, "Back in your day, you were spearing people through flaming tables, so your day sounds pretty awesome." Like, I don't know how true that is, but that was something I read earlier.
Might have happened in the media scrum, to be fair.
Yeah, Darby possibly. I haven't seen it yet.
Of all the moves that Darby Allin took during that match against Christian, he moaned more so that he broke a nail.
Did I? Oh, when he got slammed on those steps, I winced, started to look away. It was gnarly. It really was
brutal.
Yeah. And then what did he take onto the boards as well?
What didn't he take?
Yeah. That's probably a better question.
That was right.
But what a main event! What a way to close out a pay-per-view. And this was a long pay-per-view.
It was.
You're looking at like those fans have been standing there for 6 hours watching wrestling, and for them to be so full of energy and at the end of it and on their feet, and I'd love to have been there. What a great moment in wrestling. I think you've really got to be a sad little person to not enjoy that, or not at least kind of not want to give Edge that moment, or not want to kind of. He absolutely deserves it. He absolutely deserves everything that he gets, and I can't wait to hear what he's got to say on Dynamite. Yes. And he's already been announced that he's going to be in a match against Luchasaurus next week.
Yeah,
but we're going to hear from him this week.
coincidentally, that match goes up against that week. Sorry, is when Dynamite and NXT go head to head.
Okay.
For a while. Not saying that's the reason. I'm just bringing that up as
I'd love to hear from someone in the WWE as to why. I don't know. Maybe they did try everything to keep him. But I don't know if the usage of him. And don't get me wrong, WWE at times they've made the right decisions when guys are of the age where Edge is at, and they kind of go in a different direction and they go with younger stars and stuff, and it doesn't hurt them too much. But I think Edge is a bit of an exception to that rule, just given who he is, what he's done, what he means, and the reactions he still gets. And he's always got, every time that music hits, the crowd goes ballistic.
Yeah.
So to kind of let him go when he's still got so much more to give, he would have so many more WrestleMania matches in his locker. I find it really, really strange. I mean, even his last match at WrestleMania, the one that Finn Balor should have won, Edge won.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to me. I don't understand how they could let him go, but maybe there was nothing they could do to keep him. I'm not sure.
Or maybe they just didn't think, that Edge wants to do more. He wants to go and have fun. I think his daughter said. I think he said on the media thing. His daughter said, "Why don't you go and have fun with your uncle, with Uncle Jay?"
Yeah.
And look, you got FTR there. You've got people that was brought Edge to the dance. So I'm all,
maybe he's gone with WWE's blessing. So
well, for all intents and purposes, the door's always open. It's not one of them ones where door's always open for him if he wants to come back. From what I hear, he's gone out basically with the utmost from both sides. So with the WWE. So
that's maybe that's just the new way of doing things. Jade Cargill, we heard Tony Khan say Jade's always welcome back here. And
but the interesting thing was he said that he offered her more than what she wanted in the first place, and she still turned it down.
Yeah,
maybe the other way, but we've already said that we believe Jade would work better in the WWE anyway, and maybe Edge will work better here. A lot less, you don't have to worry about the scripted stuff. In the promos, you can just come out and basically say what he wants.
Yeah. I'm hoping exactly what he's predicted for himself and what he wants for himself. He just wants to go out there and have fun. And he's in a place where he's with all of his best friends. There's so many matches he can have. He mentioned some of the guys that he'd love to have matches against. There's so many matches. There's so many opponents for him in AEW that he's never faced before. And that has got to be really, really exciting, not only for Edge, for the company, for wrestling fans across the world. Great. If anybody's negative about it, I'm just
give your heads a wobble.
I've just got no words really. I've heard I think you told me about WWE fans have been saying we finished with him and his legacy is done and all that. I don't get that.
Hall of Fame ring and all of this shit.
I don't even think we should even give it like a day. Those type of comments. This is great for wrestling. The fact that Edge is revitalized and going back into a full-time role, possibly to see out his career for however long that full-time role is, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, who knows? That's up to Edge. He's earned that right to call it time whenever he sees fit. As long as he's performing and getting those type of reactions, I think we'll be seeing a lot of him for a while yet.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you. And long may it continue. We will see what happens on Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, and we will review that at some point, I'm sure, this week. But Dave, I'm going to let you go and change a nappy. I'm sure you'll be happy.
Yeah.
I bet you can't.
Sorry, I lost my words a few times during this. I am quite tired. I'll be back on my usual form. I don't know, slightly better, slightly more energetic. I don't know. It's been a long few days, but it's been a great few days personally. It's been a great few days for AEW. I'm kind of looking forward to see what happens on Dynamite, and hopefully I'll be back with you Thursday to talk all about it.
I hope so too. But yeah, we'll let you go, my man. Some guests we've got coming up. I can't really name them, Dave. You cannot give any away this time because we haven't quite got it confirmed or dates and stuff. Let's just say the guest will be the biggest guest. I don't mean biggest in size. I mean the biggest name. One of the biggest names in wrestling. That if you ever watched good years gone by, you will know who. Well, you will know when we announce it who it is. Massive name. Hope we should hopefully be able to tie it up next coming weeks. I've got a couple of what I can say is we are working on dates with Mark Andrews. Is it Mark Andrews? It is Mark Andrews, isn't it? Mandrews.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Subculture, met him yesterday. We're tying up some dates with him, but that's more of a confirmed one than the other one that I can't name at the minute. But trust me when I say it, when we do name it, you guys will absolutely love it when we get him on, and I can't wait. It is a hit. That's what I can say. Was you going to say something, David? Give it away.
I was just going to say we'll have had 2 out of the 3 members of Subculture. Then I'd love to get Danny Luna on as well. So if you could work your magic with Danny Luna, I think she'd be a great person to get on the podcast.
We will try. I met her yesterday as well. She's lovely. She's a lovely girl. Met Subculture again yesterday, hence the conversation with Mandrews. But the guys, look, we'll be back with some review shows this week. We're going to get some more names in the independent scene coming on as well. But he has been the problem child and now going to change the nappy, Dave Robinson. I have been your host, Adam Cousins, and I'm going to bed. Sorry, Dave. But I'm going to get some sleep. But until next time.
Rub it in.
Rub it in. And Mark True, you're an absolute arsehole. Until next time, everybody, buckle down.
I concur.
Good. Was it good? No, I'm not going to do it. And you're not going to do it because you're not going to get your words out. You can wait until Thursday to give us our signature sign off for AW. But good night. Bang.